Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the things you're holding on to the tightest might be the very things keeping you from the life you dream of? We live in a world that teaches us to grip harder, to fight for control, to never let go. But here's the truth. Sometimes the key to getting more from life is not in holding on, but in releasing. Think about it. Your hands can't receive new blessings if they're already full of the past. Your heart can't welcome new love if it's still weighed down by old wounds. Your mind can't see new opportunities if it's trapped replaying yesterday's mistakes. In this video, we're going to explore a life-changing principle. The more you let go, the more life gives you. I'll share powerful perspectives, real-life truths, and daily practices that will help you release fear, expectations, and the things that no longer serve you, so you can finally create space for peace, joy, and abundance. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and prepare yourself, because after today, you might just see that letting go isn't the end of something. It's the beautiful beginning of everything. Life is full of people holding on to things they've outgrown, holding on to relationships that have already ended in the heart, holding on to titles, possessions, and moments that have long since passed. We clutch at them tightly, afraid that if we loosen our grip, we will lose something precious, something we cannot live without. But here's the paradox most people never realize. The more you let go, the more life gives you. It sounds strange, doesn't it? We're taught from childhood to work hard, to hold on to what we have, to protect what's ours. We're told that letting go means losing. But in reality, letting go often means gaining space, gaining peace, gaining the freedom to receive something far greater than what we're clinging to. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze it, the more it slips through your fingers. But if you open your hand, the sand simply rests there. This is how life works. When your hand is closed in fear, you can't receive anything new. But when your hand is open in trust, life can place something in it, something better than you imagined. We've all experienced moments where letting go brought something unexpected into our lives. Maybe you left a job that was draining you, only to discover a career that fulfilled you. Maybe you released a relationship that was no longer healthy and found deeper love later. Maybe you simply stopped trying to control every detail, and in that space, things started falling into place effortlessly. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of strength. It takes courage to say, I trust life enough to release my grip. It takes faith to believe that the next chapter can be better than the one you're afraid to close. But here's the truth. Life is movement. Seasons change. People change. You change. When you hold on to what no longer belongs, you're trying to freeze. Is something that's meant to flow. And when you try to control the river, you block its current. This video is about understanding that letting go is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the space between the inhale and the exhale. It's the quiet moment when the old has left and the new hasn't yet arrived. The moment that feels uncertain but is actually full of possibility. Over the next sections, we'll explore what letting go truly means, why we resist it, and how opening your hands to release the past can invite in more than you ever thought possible. Because here's what I want you to carry with you. You cannot receive what life has for you if your hands are still full of what it's trying to take away. The illusion of control. One of the biggest reasons we struggle to let go is because we believe we're in control. We think that if we hold on tightly enough, to people, to plans, to possessions, we can prevent change, avoid loss, and shape life exactly as we want it. But here's the hard truth. Control, in the way most of us imagine it, is an illusion. Yes, you can influence your actions. You can make choices, set goals, and take steps toward them. But you cannot control the outcome completely. You can't control the timing. You can't control other people's feelings. You can't control every twist and turn life decides to take. Yet we try. We cling to routines, relationships, and situations far beyond their natural season because we're afraid of what will happen if we loosen our grip. We plan every detail of our lives, and when life dares to deviate from our blueprint, we resist, we fight, we suffer. It's like trying to hold onto the tide with your hands. You can scoop the water, you can build walls to block it, but sooner or later, the ocean will move the way it's meant to move, with or without your permission. When you truly see this, something shifts. You begin to understand that control is often a desperate attempt to create certainty in a world that thrives on change. And while that desire for certainty is human, it also limits you. Because when you're busy trying to force life to match your script, you close yourself off to the magic of what life might give you instead. Think about it. Some of the most beautiful moments in your life probably weren't planned. You didn't control them. They happened unexpectedly. And yet, they became part of your most treasured memories. The problem with the illusion of control is that it tricks you into thinking that safety comes from holding tighter. In reality, safety comes from adaptability, from being able to bend without eking, to flow without losing yourself. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying the impossible weight of trying to make everything and everyone fit your idea of how life should be. It's the difference between steering your boat and trying to control the ocean. One is possible. The other will exhaust you until you sink. When you release the need to control, you make space for trust. Trust that life, in its wisdom, sometimes takes things away, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Trust that even when the path changes, you are still moving forward. And that's when you begin to experience the truth. Letting go of control doesn't leave you powerless. It makes you powerful in a way holding on never could. What letting go really means. When people hear the phrase "let it go," they often misunderstand it. They imagine it means walking away without caring, giving up on something, or becoming cold and detached. But that's not what true letting go is. Letting go is not apathy. It's not resignation. It's not pretending something doesn't matter to you. In fact, it's the opposite. It's an act of conscious choice, one rooted in clarity, trust, and emotional strength. Letting go means releasing the tight grip you have on the things you cannot control, the outcomes, the expectations, the timelines, and the need for everything to happen exactly as you imagine. It's freeing yourself from the mental chains of, "It has to be this way," or "I can't be happy." It's like holding a bird in your hands. If you grip too tightly, you harm it. If you open your hands, the bird might fly away. But it also might stay willingly. Letting go is trusting that whatever is truly meant for you will not need to be forced to remain. This applies to so many areas of life. Letting go of the idea that a relationship has to look a certain way to be real or valuable. Letting go of the belief that your worth is tied to a specific job, income, or status. Letting go of the story that you can only be happy if the past had been different. It doesn't mean you stop trying, caring, or showing up. You still plant the seeds, water them, and tend the garden, but you stop demanding that the flowers bloom on your schedule. One of the most powerful aspects of letting go is that it creates space. When you hold on to something tightly, your hands, and your heart are full. Nothing new can enter. But when you release, even just a little, you open up room for new possibilities, opportunities, and experiences. This is why letting go feels so light. That tension in your chest, the constant mental replay of what if or woe is. See, not. The pressure of trying to hold it all together, it starts to dissolve. In its place comes peace, and from that peace, life can flow more freely toward you. It's important to understand that letting go doesn't mean forgetting. You can still love someone and let them go. You can still value an experience and release it to the past. You can still honor your dreams while letting go of the rigid picture of how they must happen. Letting go is not the end of caring. It is the end of clinging. And in that space, you begin to see a truth that will shape your life. When you stop gripping so tightly, you give life the chance to surprise you in ways you could never have planned. Why holding on hurts? We often think that holding on keeps us safe, that if we grip tightly enough to a person, a job, a dream, or even an idea, we can protect it from slipping away. But here's the hidden truth. Holding on can hurt more than letting go. When you cling to something that's trying to leave your life, you create resistance. And resistance is tension. Think of pulling on a rope that someone else is also pulling away from you. The harder you pull, the more strain you feel in your arms, your shoulders, your back. Eventually, it's not just your muscles that ache, it's your heart. The same thing happens emotionally. Holding on to the past forces you to keep reliving it. Holding on to anger or resentment keeps you locked in a story of pain. Holding on to a relationship that's no longer healthy prevents you from healing and growing. In trying so hard not to lose, you lose yourself. There's another reason holding on hurts. It blinds you. When your eyes are fixed on what you're gripping, you can't see what's around you. Opportunities pass by unnoticed. People who could uplift you go unseen. Doors that could lead to a better future remain closed simply because you're too focused on keeping the old one open. Sometimes we hold on because we believe it's love, but real love allows space. It trusts. It doesn't demand that someone stay just to soothe our fear of being alone. Other times we hold on because we believe it's loyalty to a job, a dream, or even a version of ourselves, but loyalty without growth becomes a prison. The pain of holding on is also amplified by fear. Fear whispers, if you let go, you'll have nothing. But the reality is, if your hands are full of something that no longer serves you, you already have nothing that truly nourishes you. Think about nature. The tree doesn't try to hold on to its leaves in autumn. It lets them fall, even though they once brought beauty and life. The tree knows they've served their purpose, and by releasing them, it makes way for new growth in spring. We are no different. Holding on to what has already served its purpose only delays our renewal. It keeps us carrying weight that slows our journey. It keeps us in rooms where the light has gone out. Letting go may feel like pain in the moment, but in reality, it's the pain of releasing a thorn that has been in your hand for too long. Yes, your hand will feel empty at first, but soon it will also feel free. And in that freedom, life can finally place something new, something better, into it. Letting go of the past. The past can be a beautiful teacher, but it can also be a heavy prison. Every one of us carries memories. Some that warm us, and some that wound us. The problem is, many people carry the past not as a lesson, but as a burden. We replay old mistakes over and over, as if punishing ourselves long enough will somehow change what happened. We hold on to regrets, thinking they define us. We cling to moments of happiness, wishing we could relive them exactly as they were. But the past, whether painful or joyful, is no longer here. The only place it exists is in your mind. Letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting it. It doesn't mean pretending it never happened or denying that it shaped you. It means you stop letting it control your present. You take the wisdom it gave you and leave behind the weight. Think of it like hiking with a backpack. At the start of the journey, the pack is light, but every time you hold on to an old hurt, a regret, or a missed opportunity, it's like adding a rock to the bag. Eventually, it becomes so heavy that you can't move forward freely. Letting go is simply removing those rocks one by one, so you can walk into your future without being crushed by your past. Here's something important to understand. Holding on to the past often feels safe, even when it's painful. Why? Because it's familiar. The human mind craves familiarity, even if it's unhealthy. Stepping into the unknown future can feel scarier than holding on to a known pain. But familiarity is not the same as peace. When you let go of the past, you open yourself to the possibility that the future can be better. You allow yourself to see new opportunities without comparing them to what used to be. You stop measuring today against yesterday, and you start living today for what it is. Sometimes, the hardest part is letting go of a past version of yourself. The person you used to be, the dreams you once had, the identity you once wore proudly. But you are not meant to stay the same forever. Growth requires shedding old versions of yourself, just as a snake sheds its skin. Ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that no longer serves me? Maybe it's guilt over something you can't change. Maybe it's a relationship that ended years ago but still lives in your mind. Maybe it's the belief that you've missed your chance at happiness. The truth is, the past will never return. But that's not a tragedy, it's a gift, because it means you have the chance to create something new, something even better, right now. Letting go of the past is not losing a part of yourself. It's reclaiming the part of yourself that has been trapped in old stories for too long. And when you free that part, life can finally give you the chapter you've been waiting for. Letting go of expectations. Expectations are invisible contracts we make with life, contracts that life never actually signs. We imagine how things should happen, how people should behave, how the future should look. And when reality doesn't match the picture in our mind, we feel disappointment, frustration, or even anger. The problem isn't in having hopes or dreams. The problem is when those hopes harden into rigid expectations. Expectations say, it must happen this way, at this time, in this order, or else I will not be happy. And that kind of thinking leaves no space for life to surprise you. Think about how many times you've been upset, not because something truly bad happened, but because it didn't happen the way you thought it should. You expected a friend to remember a special day. You expected a promotion by a certain age. You expected someone to react to your kindness the same way you would. When those expectations weren't met, you felt let down, even if the reality wasn't actually terrible. Expectations place a heavy burden not just on ourselves, but on others. When we expect people to fit the version of them in our head, we stop seeing them for who they truly are. We judge their actions not on their reality, but on our script for them. And this almost always leads to disappointment. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean you stop caring about outcomes. It means you stop clinging to a specific way those outcomes must happen. You still set intentions, you still take action, but you release the demand that life must follow your exact plan. It's like planting a seed. You water it, you give it sunlight, you care for it, but you don't stand over it demanding that it sprout in 3 days, grow exactly 6 inches by next week, and bloom on the first day of spring. You let it grow in its own time, in its own way, because you trust the process. When you let go of expectations, you open yourself to more possibilities. You can appreciate what you receive instead of resenting what you didn't get. You can enjoy the journey instead of constantly checking if you've arrived. Some of the most beautiful gifts in life come when things don't go according to plan. You miss one opportunity and another, better suited for you, appears. You take a path you didn't expect, and it leads to someone or something that changes your life. But if you're too focused on the picture in your head, you might not even notice these gifts. Freedom comes when you say, this is what I hope for, but I trust life enough to accept something different, something better, or something I can learn from. When you let go of expectations, you stop living in constant comparison between what is and what should be. And in that space, you find peace, because you've learned to embrace life as it is, not just as you imagined it. Letting go of fear. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in human life, and one of the most limiting. It can protect you when real danger is near, but far too often, fear takes control when there is no true threat. It whispers worst-case scenarios into your mind, magnifies what could go wrong, and convinces you to stay small rather than risk stepping into the unknown. Fear is like a lock on the door of your potential. You may have dreams, opportunities, and gifts on the other side, but if fear holds the key, you will never open that door. And the more you feed it, the more it grows, until you begin building your life around avoiding it. We often think holding on to fear keeps us safe, but in reality, it keeps us stuck. You avoid applying for the job because you fear rejection. You avoid opening your heart because you fear heartbreak. You avoid taking a leap because you fear failure. And in protecting yourself from pain, you also block yourself from growth, joy, and new experiences. Letting go of fear doesn't mean you stop feeling it. It means you stop letting it control your choices. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. Think of fear as a warning light on your dashboard. It's there to get your attention, but it doesn't have to be the driver. You acknowledge it, understand what it's trying to tell you, and then decide if it's guiding you toward truth or simply toward comfort. One powerful truth is this: fear often points to the very thing you most need to do. If something both excites and scares you, it's usually a sign that it will expand you. Growth lives on the other side of discomfort. Letting go of fear begins with awareness. When fear rises, ask yourself, is this fear based on facts or on what-ifs? What would I do if I knew I could not fail? Am I protecting myself from real danger or just from feeling uncomfortable? Another step is to take small actions toward what you fear. Fear thrives in avoidance. It shrinks when you move toward it. Each small step you take builds confidence, proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you believed. Life rewards the brave. The people who let go of fear are not reckless. They simply refuse to let fear steal their future. They understand that fear will always be present in moments that matter, but it doesn't have to be the decision maker. The more you let go of fear, the more space you make for courage, adventure, and opportunity. You begin to live from a place of possibility, not protection. And that's when life can finally give you everything you were meant to have. Because you are no longer standing in your own way, the space letting go creates. Letting go is not just about release, it's about creating space. Space in your mind, in your heart, in your life. And that space is where life has room to bring you something new. Think of your life as a room. Over the years, you fill it with furniture, decorations, and objects. At first, these things bring comfort, beauty, and meaning. But as time passes, some of them break, lose their purpose, or no longer match who you are now. Still, you keep them because they hold memories, or because you simply don't want to face the discomfort of change. The problem is, when the room is full, nothing new can enter. Even if someone wanted to give you something better, a new chair, a brighter lamp, a piece of art that inspires you, there's no space to put it. The only way to make room is to let go of what no longer serves you. Life works exactly the same way. When you cling to old relationships, outdated beliefs, or past identities, you block the space where something greater could be placed. You may not realize it, but every time you say yes to what's outdated, you're saying no to what's meant for your future. The space created by letting go is powerful for 3 reasons. 1. Mental space. When you release what's been weighing on your mind, regrets, grudges, unnecessary worries, you free up mental energy. That energy can then be used for creativity, problem solving, and joy. You stop replaying the same old loops and start thinking about what's next. Emotional space. Letting go of emotional attachments to what no longer belongs in your life creates room for new connections, deeper love, and healthier relationships. Emotional space means you no longer walk into the future carrying the emotional baggage of the past. Physical and lifestyle space. Sometimes, letting go means literally decluttering your environment, clearing your desk, your home, your calendar. Physical space has a direct effect on mental clarity. A clear environment often leads to a clear mind. Many people fear this space because it feels like emptiness, but in truth, it's possibility. It's a blank page waiting for a new story. That moment between letting go and receiving is where the magic brews, the part where life is preparing something for you, even if you can't see it yet. The irony is, the more afraid you are of empty space, the more likely you are to fill it with things, people, and habits that aren't truly right for you. But when you learn to embrace it, when you trust the pause, you create an open invitation for life to surprise you. Remember, letting go is not losing, it's preparing. That space you create is the container into which life can pour its blessings. And the more space you make, the more room there is for life to give, trusting the flow of life. Trusting the flow of life is one of the most difficult, yet most liberating things you will ever learn. It requires surrender, not in defeat, but in confidence. It means believing that even when you can't see the entire path, each step is leading you somewhere meaningful. Life is like a river. You can stand in the middle of it, struggling against the current, trying to force the water to flow the way you think it should. Or you can learn to float, allowing the river to carry you forward, trusting that it knows the way better than you do. The river is not here to drown you. It's here to take you where you need to go. But here's the challenge. The human mind craves certainty. We want guarantees. We want to know exactly how things will turn out before we take a leap. That's why letting go feels so uncomfortable, because it removes the illusion of control and demands that we trust something bigger than ourselves. Nature shows us this trust every single day. The tree doesn't cling to its leaves in autumn. It lets them fall, bare branches exposed, trusting that spring will come again. The ocean doesn't resist the tide. It moves in and out without question. Life itself operates in cycles. And trust means allowing yourself to move with those cycles instead of fighting them. Trusting the flow of life doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means showing up, doing your part, and then releasing the outcome. You plant the seeds, but you trust the rain to come when it's meant to. Sometimes, the flow of life takes you in a direction you didn't plan. You lose a job, but it leads you to a career you truly love. A relationship ends, and months later you meet someone who fits you in ways you never imagined. At the time, these changes may feel like loss, but in reality, they're redirections. The more you resist the flow, the more exhaustion you feel. The more you trust it, the more peace you find. Trust is what allows you to look at uncertainty and say, I may not know where this is going, but I believe it will be for my good. Letting go and trusting the flow work together. You can't truly trust if you're still clinging to what you think life should be, and you can't fully let go without trusting that life will give you what you need next. Here's the truth. Life has carried you through every moment so far. Even the hardest seasons didn't last forever. If you can remember that, you can begin to release your fear of what's next. Because when you stop fighting the current, life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like an adventure. How letting go brings peace. Peace is not something you stumble upon by accident. It's something you create intentionally. And one of the most direct paths to peace is learning to let go. Think about the moments in life that feel heavy. Often, they're tied to something you're holding on to. A grudge, a fear, a regret, a person, a situation you can't control. You carry it around like a bag of stones. Some days you forget it's even there, but it's still weighing you down, silently draining your energy. Letting go removes that weight. It doesn't mean you erase the memory or pretend something didn't matter. It means you stop reliving it in your mind every day. You stop allowing it to dictate how you feel and how you act. Peace comes from living in the present moment, but you can't truly be in the present if part of you is stuck in the past or clinging to a future you can't control. Letting go pulls your mind out of those places and plants it here, now, where your power actually exists. When you let go, you also release the constant tension of resistance. Resistance is exhausting. It's that inner voice saying, it shouldn't be this way. But here's the thing, it is this way. The moment you accept reality instead of arguing with it, your mind relaxes. You stop fighting life and start flowing with it. This doesn't mean you stop wanting better for yourself. It means you stop torturing yourself over what is already done or over what hasn't even happened yet. You can still work toward change, but now you do it from a place of calm clarity instead of desperation. Letting go also creates space for forgiveness, both for others and for yourself. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. The longer you carry bitterness, the more it eats away at your peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing someone's behavior. It means freeing your psoas, or self, from the hold it has over you. You'll find that when you let go, your mind gets quieter, your heart feels lighter, you sleep better, you smile more easily. Things that used to trigger you no longer have the same power. And this peace isn't fragile. It's not dependent on everything going your way. It's rooted in your choice to stop carrying what isn't yours anymore. Here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to wait for life to calm down to feel peace. You create peace first, and then life often begins to reflect it back to you. When you practice letting go, whether it's of an old story, an expectation, or a fear, you're telling yourself, my peace matters more than my need to control this. And that choice, made again and again, builds a life where peace is no longer something you search for. It's simply where you live. Opportunities you can't see yet. One of the most beautiful and frustrating things about life is that it often hides the best opportunities until you're ready for them. And most of the time, you don't become ready until you've let go of something else. When you're holding onto the familiar, even if it's not good for you, your hands are too full to grasp what's next. Life may have the perfect relationship, job, adventure, or moment of growth prepared for you. But if you're still gripping tightly to the old, there's simply no space to receive it. The hard part is, these opportunities are invisible at first. You can't see them on the horizon. You can't predict them on a calendar. They often appear suddenly, in unexpected forms. And because they're hidden, letting go can feel terrifying. It's like stepping off one cliff without being able to see the bridge that will catch you. But here's the truth. You've been here before. Think back to the times you thought you'd lost everything, only to later realize you were being redirected towards something better. That job you didn't get made space for a role that suited you perfectly. That relationship that ended cleared the way for someone who truly matched your soul. That closed door was simply a signpost pointing you toward a more meaningful path. Life is a master at timing. It will often withhold certain opportunities until you have the space, the mindset, or the maturity to truly embrace them. If you receive them too early, while still tangled in old attachments, you might not recognize their value or be able to fully step into them. Letting go is the signal you send to life, saying, I'm ready for what's next. I'm willing to trust, even when I can't see. That trust opens your awareness. Suddenly, you notice possibilities you overlooked before. You meet people you might have passed by. You try things you wouldn't have read to while clinging to the safety of the known. And then one day, what was once invisible becomes clear. The why behind a loss suddenly makes sense. The detour you didn't want to take leads you somewhere far better than your original destination. The fear you felt when letting go is replaced with gratitude that you did. The challenge is having faith in the unseen. It's believing that just because you can't see the opportunity now doesn't mean it isn't already on its way. Remember, a seed planted in the soil is invisible for a long time, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Beneath the surface, roots are growing, and when the time is right, it will emerge. So, when life asks you to let go, it's not trying to take from you. It's making space for the opportunities you can't see yet, the ones that will make you realize it was all worth it. Letting go as a daily practice. Letting go isn't something you do once in a lifetime. Check off the list and never think about again. It's a skill, a habit, and a way of living that must be practiced daily. Every day, life presents you with small moments to release. The irritation at someone cutting you off in traffic, the disappointment when plans change, the frustration over a mistake you made, the temptation to dwell on a hurtful comment. These moments might seem insignificant, but they accumulate. If you don't let them go, they pile up in your mind and heart like clutter in a room. Think about it. If you cleaned your home only once every few years, how overwhelming would the mess become? Emotional and mental clutter works the same way. Without regular release, your spirit feels heavy, your thoughts get clouded, and peace becomes harder to find. Daily letting go is about not carrying today's tension into tomorrow. It's about closing each day with a sense of lightness, so you can wake up without yesterday's burdens on your shoulders. This practice can be as simple as a nightly reflection. Before bed, ask yourself, what did I hold on to today that I no longer need? What can I forgive, release, or stop replaying in my mind? You might write these thoughts in a journal or simply sit quietly and imagine placing them into a river, watching them float away. This visual reminder can be surprisingly powerful, training your mind to detach with kindness rather than resistance. Daily letting go also applies to self-judgment. Every day we make mistakes, say things we wish we hadn't, or fail to meet our own standards. Instead of carrying guilt endlessly, acknowledge what happened, learn the lesson, and release it. Self-forgiveness is a crucial part of this practice. Otherwise, you become your own jailer. Relationships benefit from daily letting go too. Small annoyances, meows. is communications and differences in opinion are natural in any connection. But if you keep storing these moments, they turn into resentment. Choosing to let go of the little things creates space for compassion and understanding to grow. Daily letting go is also about flexibility. Life will rarely go exactly as planned. Being able to release your grip on rigid expectations, moment by moment, helps you move through the day with less stress and more flow. Over time, this becomes second nature. You start catching yourself sooner when you're holding on to something unnecessarily. You learn to pause, breathe, and ask, is this worth my peace? More often than not, the answer will be no. And here's the gift. When you practice letting go every day, you don't just lighten your own load. You create a life that is consistently open to receiving. You train your heart to stay unburdened, your mind to stay clear, and your spirit to remain free. Because the truth is, peace isn't built in one grand moment of release. It's built in the small daily choices to let go, again and again. The courage to release. Letting go sounds simple when it's said out loud, but living it is often one of the hardest things we'll ever do. It requires something rare, courage. Courage to face the unknown. Courage to step into a chapter of life you haven't read yet. Courage to trust that even without the thing you've been holding on to, you will still be whole. One of the main reasons we struggle to release is fear. Fear of emptiness, fear of regret, fear of losing something that might never come back. It feels safer to cling to what's familiar, even if it's painful, than to face the uncertainty of what comes after. But here's the truth. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite fear. Letting go is rarely free of emotion. Your hands may shake, your heart may ache, your mind may argue with you. And yet, if you listen to the quiet voice within, you'll know when it's time. Courage in letting go also means trusting your own strength. It's believing that you can survive without that job, that relationship, that identity, or that plan you thought you needed. It's knowing that you are more than any single situation or chapter of your life. Think of the moments in history or even in your own life when the greatest growth happened. More often than not, it began with a release, a leaving, a change, a decision to no longer hold on. These moments felt uncertain at the time, but they became turning points that shaped who you are today. The courage to release also requires you to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing letting go as losing, see it as making space. Instead of seeing it as an ending, see it as a beginning. Courage is fueled by vision, the ability to see not just what you're leaving behind, but what you're making room for. You don't have to leap in one giant step. Sometimes courage looks like loosening your grip slowly, one finger at a time. Other times it's a deep breath and a single decisive choice. Either way, every small act of release strengthens you. It's also important to remember, courage doesn't mean you won't feel sadness. You can grieve and still be brave. You can miss something and still know it's right to let it go. Courage is holding both truths in your hands, the love for what was and the faith in what will be. And here's the beautiful part. Once you take that leap of courage, once you release, life often rushes in to meet you with more than you imagined. Opportunities, peace, clarity, and freedom begin to flow in, not because you forced them, but because you made the space and dared to trust. Letting go is an act of bravery, and the moment you do it, you discover that courage isn't something you find. It's something you create by taking the step you thought you couldn't take. The ripple effect. When you let go, it doesn't just change your own lives, it changes the lives of the people around you. This is the ripple effect of release. Think of a still pond. The moment you drop a single stone into the water, ripples spread outward far beyond where the stone first touched. In the same way, every act of letting go you choose creates waves that move through your relationships, your environment, and even your future. The first ripple is within yourself. When you release something heavy, a resentment, a fear, a toxic connection, you immediately feel lighter. That lightness shifts your energy. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You show up in the world with more calm, more openness, more presence. People notice, even if they can't put it into words. The second ripple is how others respond to you. Your peace becomes contagious. When you stop reacting with bitterness or defensiveness, those around you often soften too. Your example becomes permission for others to release their own burdens. Just by living your truth, you become a quiet teacher of freedom. The third ripple is in your opportunities. When you let go, you create space. And life rushes to fill that space. You may find yourself meeting new people, exploring new paths, or saying yes to things you once resisted. These opportunities don't just benefit you. They can inspire and uplift others in your circle. The fourth ripple is in your relationships. Letting go of control or unrealistic expectations allows love, friendship, and family connections to breathe. Instead of suffocating under the weight of demands, your relationships can grow naturally. Some connections will strengthen, others will fade, and both outcomes will serve your highest good. The fifth ripple is generational. When you break free from unhealthy patterns, whether it's a habit of holding grudges, living in fear, or clinging to the past, you stop passing those patterns forward. Children, friends, and even colleagues witness your example and learn that it's possible to live without being chained to what no longer serves you. It's important to understand the ripple effect works both ways. Holding on too tightly creates its own waves. Waves of tension, resistance, and missed opportunities that spread into your environment. But the choice to let go sends out waves of possibility and peace. Sometimes you may not see the full impact of your ripple. You might inspire someone silently without ever knowing it. You might change the course of your own life in ways that only become clear years later. That's the beauty of the ripple. Once it's set in motion, it keeps moving, even beyond your sight. Letting go is not just a personal act of freedom. It's a contribution to the collective peace of the people around you. The calmer, freer, and lighter you are, the more the world benefits. And that, perhaps, is one of the most beautiful gifts of release. It doesn't just free you, it frees everyone your ripples touch. Life rewards the open hand. Imagine standing with your hand clenched tightly into a fist. Inside it is something you've been holding on to for a long time, a relationship, a dream, a belief, a version of yourself. You've carried it so long that your fingers are cramped, your muscles ache, but you still refuse to let it go. Now imagine someone coming to give you a gift, something brighter, better, and more aligned with who you are today. They reach toward your hand, but they can't place it there, because your fist is closed. That is how life works. Life cannot place blessings into a closed hand. We often think the way to get what we want is to hold on tightly to what we already have. But in reality, holding too tightly blocks the flow. The more rigidly you cling, the less room you leave for anything new. An open hand, however, can receive. It's a posture of trust, saying, I'm willing to release what no longer serves me so I can welcome what will. It's not passive, it's powerful. It declares to life that you are ready for growth, ready for abundance, ready for the next chapter. This doesn't mean you abandon everything you care about. It means you hold it gently, knowing it is yours for as long as it's meant to be, and if it leaves, you trust something else will take its place. The open hand is also about perspective. You stop seeing life as a series of things to be owned and controlled, and instead see it as a flow of experiences to be received and appreciated. When you live this way, you become less afraid of endings because you trust that every ending is also a beginning. Life has a way of rewarding the open hand with things you could never have planned. Opportunities that appear out of nowhere, people who bring joy, paths you didn't know existed. These are not accidents. They are the natural result of creating space for life to move. The irony is, the very things you want often arrive when you stop grasping for them. Love comes when you stop chasing it desperately. Opportunities come when you stop forcing them. Clarity comes when you stop overthinking. This isn't magic. It's simply that your open hand and open heart allow life to deliver without resistance. The closed hand represents fear. The open hand represents faith. And life always flows more freely toward faith than fear. So ask yourself, what am I still gripping that is keeping my hand closed? If you can find the courage to open it, even a little, you may be surprised by how quickly life fills it with something better. Because here's the truth. Life's greatest treasures don't belong to those who cling. They belong to those who are brave enough to open their hands and let life give and let life